exclusive car insurance offer. If you are 50 years and over or turning 50 in 2024, our 50 plus car insurance is perfect for you. It's loaded with free benefits like loss of use, special perils, and windscreen cover up to $2,500. Getting to 50 is filled with ups and downs. Let's celebrate these moments together and look forward to 50 more. Call Beacon Insurance at 440-4447 or log on to beacongrenada.com to get a free quote today. Special
2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6.
Education multiplies their chances and places the world of opportunity in their hands. No matter where they are in the world, make sure they're prepared for their journey back to school with Western Union. School fees, books, room and board, whatever the reason. Knowledge, independence, opportunity. Western Union, moving money for better.
My apologies for the late start. We're usually right on, but I was let me get rid of this. I was trying to organize my next camera setup pretty early, but fine when I decided to go live, it was not cooperating, so I had to do it over. It was not standing on the stand. It was not staying on the stand. Anyways, whatever. I'm here. That's what matters. All right. So good morning, everybody. What is our problem? Since I went. Anyways, good morning, Shante. Let me just do a quick roll call because my guest is already here, and I want to talk about relationships and toxic relationships and everything surrounding healthy and unhealthy. And Jacqueline, you need to be here for that this morning. You could learn a thing or two about toxic relationships. All right. So I suggest you stay here for the duration of this segment because it falls right up your alley, if I say so myself. Anywho's. Good morning, Linda. Michelle, morning. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hope all is well. Good morning, Gluma. Good morning, Nakisha. Kind of slow. Morning, Wendy. Jackie, don't worry about how quick or slow I am. Okay? Just sit still because you're going to need to hear this today. That's all I'm saying to you. Don't worry about what I'm fast and slow about. Morning, Jennifer Duncan. How are you? Good morning, Wendy Samuel. How's Canada? Good morning, Betty Ann. Good morning, Reginald. How are you? Angel Fire. Good morning. Morning, Roxanne. It's raining in Brooklyn. Well, it's hot on my end. It's somewhat overcast because, well, not overcast, sort of hazy because of the Sahara dust. That's why we have, that's why outside look the way it does. Morning, Valerie. Morning, Dawn. Kujo. Good morning. Didn't see you yesterday. Good morning, Roseanne. Morning, Trisha. Selvin Ray. Selvin, what it is you wish to speak about? Morning, Melvin Brown. How are you, bro? Morning, Jenny. Good morning, Jenny Charles Gilbert. Theo, good morning. Who else is here? G-Eds, Natasha, good morning. Glendolyn, good morning. Emmanuel, good morning. I am late, Melvin. You're not late. I'm late. Morning, Kizzy. Morning, Della. Morning, Michelle. Wet and Cole. Good morning, Angel Eyes. Morning, Savelle. Morning, CJ. Yeah. A little piece of everything. You're in the wrong place. Hal. Good morning. You're not late. I'm late. So morning, everybody on YouTube. And of course, morning to everybody on radio 95.1, 95.3. And of course, a special morning to those of you viewing online. So it's just like, when you have, they say you plan and God laugh, like everything was just going the opposite. Just when I sorted out the camera, I realized one of my lashes was coming out. So I had to, thank God I walked in my house. So I had to fix it back because I'm not about to come on live with my lashes hanging because y'all, I wouldn't hear the end of the story. And next thing there'd be screenshots going around. Watch all the things she playing. She eyelash falling out and I'm not about it. Not today. Morning, Charmaine. So, Danisha, it's good to have you here. Alana, we're here. All right. So, guys, like I said, I have a special guest this morning, Joanne Paul Haskell. And well, she's going to tell you what she does and a little bit about, how it works. And to advise and, sort of bring us up to speed on some of the things we think we know, but we may not know, or the things we might think are healthy and they're not. Relationship wise, I want to touch the relationship part of it. And there are a lot of us who can say we've been yes, Mel, I did. It made me laugh so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. The card. I love the card. There's a lot of us who probably experience relationships and we may not know how to identify toxicity and things that you should run from, the red flags, and identify green flags. It seems as though the red flags, the more they wave, we think it's Soca Monarch, so we're out in front having the time of our lives when the fact is we shouldn't be. But we're all here to learn, right? So come on in, share the live. Selma, what you mean it's not up your alley? So you have female friends, you can teach them. I'm sure they confide in you. And there's a lot of them who probably have issues and come to you and you probably will tell them stay at jam. Only one confusion, start you want to be here. If you can't be here for when we're serious, according to my mother, don't come back in my place. All right. Morning, Delicia. Who is this Sandra everybody talking about? Some Sandra, and I'm late. Who is this Sandra that y'all Sandra and some who my name? Anyways, Kate, can you bring my guest in? Did y'all see the topic I posted this morning? We're gonna touch that on Tuesday because it's a bit too much for daytime radio. So we're gonna touch that on Tuesday when we do our own thingy. But I would welcome topics. I welcome feedback. Feel free to send me topics you think we can touch, topics you think we can engage in. We would really, really appreciate it. All right. So that's for next Tuesday when we do the nighttime part of it, when we go more, when we're not so censored and we don't have to watch every word because it's not radio. So we move. All right. So let me just give my guest the opportunity to introduce herself and we'll take it there. So good morning and welcome to Power 95. Welcome to the ladies' room.
Good morning, Aruna, and to all your listening audience.
Is your voice low or is my? You probably might have to speak up a little because you're coming across very low, and I got you all the way up. Or come a little closer.
To the mic.
Yeah, closer to the
Okay.
mic. Great. Alrighty. So, like I was telling my audience, we're basically learning. Both of my audience and myself, we're going to be learning this morning because I am not too au fait with what you do, but you're here and you're going to tell us a bit about that. And then we'll jump into, of course, this whole toxic thing that everybody seems to be talking about lately, and we'll take it from there. So you can just introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning again, Aruna. Thank you so much for the opportunity to.
You
be a
might have
part
to speak up a bit
of your
louder.
platform.
You have a soft voice, yeah?
Yeah,
Because my volume is all the way up.
that's fine. But it's a pleasure to be here. And I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak. My name is Joanne Paul Pascal. I'm actually a counselor. I'm a licensed master social worker. Again, like we said before, my role and responsibility mainly is to provide support to people, families, people in general, just to help them connect the dots. Maybe it relates to relationships, as we're talking about today, how to probably thrive in their relationships. Maybe give a few pointers and tools that you can use to help you navigate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm gonna have to do is to have you come closer because they're saying you look a bit far away,
Okay.
and on top of that, we're gonna have to make you a bit louder as well because they're saying you're very low and my volume is all the way up. So
Feel like that.
let me just get Kate to help you so you can just come closer. You can bring the mic back.
Push it back a bit.
Yeah, Kate. So you're gonna have to bring the
I'll stay down.
yeah, bring the chair closer because I'm not. She looks a bit far away. It's a little bit better. Come a little closer. Like this way, Kate. The other way. Look at where the camera is, and then you'll be able to. Don't look at me. Look at the camera. So you'll be able to gauge it properly. Yeah, she's very low. So the voice is a lot louder. Okay, so you guys are good on the volume. Yeah, we just want to bring her closer to the screen. And okay, so she's more on the corner, Kate. So I needed to be looking at the camera side. All right. Yeah, so that's better, right? Okay. Jackie, just leave me alone, please. I'm not asking nobody nothing. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just trying to get it a bit closer, better. Hold on. Yeah, Kate, you're working this morning. Okay, that's better. Okay, why am I seeing the back of the computer? Okay, so we have all right. I think I'm seeing you. All right, yeah. We can work with that. Yeah, we could work with that once they're hearing clearly. That's important. All right, so you're moving again. Much better. Okay. Hold on. See, there she goes. It's off the screen now. Yeah, for some reason it's just shaky. I don't know why. All right, so you see, we were fine. I don't know why I was trying to accommodate you guys. I should have left it how it was. The important thing was hearing. Once you could hear, that's what's important. All right, so I think we can leave it. Hold on, we're moving again. So the kid, don't touch it. It was good. Yeah, by the time we're finished settling this, our time will be up for the rate we're going, right? And we were prepared, but for some reason it just moved and wouldn't stay still. Since 9:30 thereabouts, we set this up. It's off the screen now. You might have to stand and hold it. It's not for long, so you might as well do that. The rate we're going right now. Because your hand might be shaky on top of it. This was a Wendy, that no song, right? Once you guys hear the message, it's off completely. All right, so let me start still while you figure it out because time is going. I have to go back to get yeah, we'll work with that for now because it's starting to do my head in and it's half the screen. Half the screen is out anyways. So yeah, of course we have, like I said, a counselor and therapist, and this morning again we want to focus a bit on toxicity in relationships, etc., and how we can identify those. So start. I'm working with you, so just tell me where we're going from. Yeah, go ahead.
So toxic relationships,
Mhm.
you want to talk about relationships, obviously are very important. We engage in them, whether it be familial or friendships or, with your,
Bring up the mic.
or business relationships. They're super important. And so learning how to navigate that is important. Obviously, as you know, the old people used to say, teeth and tongue would always meet.
Mhm.
And so finding a way to navigate even the challenging times are important. As we know, relationships help us in a number of things, to be more resilient. It helps us, some of the studies show with our health. Again, you can avoid people, especially people, as it relates to family or coworkers or stuff
Mhm.
like that. It's stuff that you need to learn to navigate. So I heard you mention before, I guess some of the concerns or maybe questions that have been raised or comments have been
Mhm.
about toxic relationships. And so those are things that obviously we're going to encounter. We need to manage them.
So what falls under the umbrella of toxic? Because we hear that word being used a lot lately, and I get a lot of situations. People send me situations that they're going through, and a lot of the times the viewers, the folks following would immediately say, that's a toxic situation. But sometimes not everything falls under the toxic umbrella. Like you said, teeth and tongue will meet. It's healthy to have. I mean, we wouldn't agree on everything,
Of
you
course.
know. We wouldn't. It's not possible to agree on everything. We would have disagreements.
Absolutely.
So what falls under toxic?
So things that where you find it's manipulation happening, a lot of blaming occurring. There's a common thing that's going around, gaslighting,
Mhm,
and that, making one feel as though they're crazy somewhat.
mhm,
Some things you consider a bit toxic. Like you said, we will have, and none of us are perfect individuals. We have, we're all flawed. So there are things that we may do that may not, agree with the other person. Mutual respect. The relationships that lack respect also is important. Yeah, I believe in order for our relationships to thrive, there needs to be mutual respect of one another, being able to actually listen to someone's opinion. You may agree to disagree, as they say, right? You don't always have to agree with the person, but respecting what they have to say, I believe, is super important.
mhm.
Also, like I said, in toxic relationships, lack of trust. Trust is important, and so if you don't have that, not being able to trust what the person is saying, lying and things like that, you know, uh, is I would say not healthy for you. Um, I consider relationships in the sense of there are individuals, and knowing where people place in your life, I think is important.
Mhm.
And knowing when to let go of people, I think is also important.
Because you find that a lot of times people say, I should have left long,
Mhm,
way quicker than this, and
mhm.
I think that is something we all struggle with, knowing when to let go, at what point enough becomes enough. But before we get to that, there are folks in the chat asking if you can, highlight or describe gaslighting, a little bit more, so people would be understand what that means.
So I'll give an example.
Mhm.
Say, for instance, an event occurred, something happened, and that individual, instead of what's happened, they make you to feel as though it was your fault. I'm trying to think of a specific example. Say, for instance, you're cooking the food, and
Mhm.
and they may have, let's say, turn off the stove, right? They make it seem like, oh, I turned off the stove because you didn't seem all there, or
Mhm.
something like, and we know what that's like. This is not what happened,
Mhm.
but they say something to you to make you feel, oh my gosh, you question your judgment, you question what you do, you question
Or
your
you question what you
self-esteem,
heard.
you question what you heard, and like, and they
Mhm.
sometimes, in gaslighting related situations, they may try to get other people to buy in. Oh, look, she did what, whatever,
Mhm.
um to make it seem as though you're crazy.
Mhm.
And but I think in the situations like that, sometimes even, addressing it immediately, because sometimes once you leave that and you come back to it, you really go, oh, did I really do that? So yeah, something along those lines. I hope that's helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All right. I'm sure someone says he cheated and blamed you for why he cheated.
exactly. Perfect example. And so he would say, well, you weren't around, but
Or
he hadn't.
you wasn't giving me
I
enough
was
attention.
exactly,
You're always busy. You're always this. You're always that. But at
exactly
the end of the day, you cheated. That was a personal choice you
right.
made.
And that you broke trust.
Mhm.
And he's not taking responsibility is another way of kind of putting that. They're not taking responsibility for their actions, and they're blaming it on you, that you're the fault, you at fault, you're the one with the problem, not me. You're overreacting, or yeah.
Somebody is also asking, how do you identify a narcissistic behavior? Another term you hear being used a lot. Narcissism. How do you identify that?
Very self-centered, not really concerned about your feelings. It's about them. It's not about at the end, at the bottom line of it. I know we have
Mhm.
limited amount of time.
Mhm.
At the bottom line of that, is that they're just mainly concerned about what they're getting out of it. There's no concern for you as an individual. So they will go to lengths to ensure that they're okay without
Mhm.
considering you.
Well, I'm sure we can all identify somebody along those lines at some point in our lives. Um, is it, because a lot of times you hear it being directed at men, but isn't it both
Mm,
males and females who can show those tendencies, narcissistic tendencies?
absolutely. And taking again,
Mhm.
sometimes again it's there's no gender or particular person. You can see it on both sides.
But because I often hear the term, and when you do, it's always like men this, men that. But once saw someone says there are some women who are do the same thing. Someone here is saying, is gaslighting a form of emotional abuse in a relationship?
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Hmm.
It's somewhat a form of abuse. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's look at some other things that some red flags and some green flags that one should look and maybe able to identify at some point in their relationships, because I don't think we talk about green flags enough. We always focus a lot on red flags, red flags, red flags,
Yeah.
but what about the good things, the good parts of relationships? We don't seem to focus a lot on that.
That's absolutely true. I guess, like you said, bad news sometimes is the thing that draws people's attention.
Mhm.
Right? They talk about that where you one bad comment, it takes five good things to
To like wipe out that
erase
one.
that. Yeah, it's a thing that somehow stands out in our minds. But some to answer your question, some of the green flags. Let's in a relationship, again, providing a safe space. Do you feel safe speaking to someone, or conversing with them, being your authentic self? I think that's super important. But that comes with feelings of trust. Do you trust the individual enough to open up and share? Do you feel, again, judgment is something that keeps people from feeling
Mhm.
okay to express.
Mhm.
So again, is it an environment of non-judgment? um can you truly speak your truth, as they say, and be respected and be seen and heard? I think those are some important things. Is there empathy in a relationship, right? Is are they emotionally intelligent? That's all incorporates things like empathy, to be able to they identify, and even yourself identify what you're feeling, and be able to understand what the other person is feeling, and to express that. Is there open, honest communication? Can you really, like I said, speak your truth?
Mhm.
Um, Communication is big, and it's not. They say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. But I think it incorporates both,
Mhm.
because you can say something, and especially with social media and
Mhm.
texting and
Mhm.
all of that,
Mhm.
how you
Mhm.
say
Can be
something
something misconstrued.
could be
Yes.
misconstrued. So
Mhm.
being mindful of that is I believe important. How we communicate with one another, since it's not just what we say, but again our response. Because you may say, oh, if even you know verbal and nonverbal communication, right?
Mhm.
Um, Not again, it's how you say a thing, what you say, the attitude you say it
Do it.
with, the
Mhm.
rolling of the eyes,
Eyes.
all those
Mhm. Mhm.
things, right?
Mhm.
Impacts communication, and that makes is how it's also received. How would you receive that? I think pitching yourself that empathy and also is important. Providing feedback.
Mhm.
Um, Feedback of if you agreed in a relationship to work on something, right? And check-ins periodically, like, okay, we agreed, you were going to do, and
Mhm.
are you following through on that?
Mhm.
And how are we doing, as if you're in a couples relationship, even as parents, there we may think again, how are things, how check-ins. I think that's super important, because you may think you're doing something and you're communicating. I use this as an example. Say for instance, we speak a different language,
Mhm.
right? And I may speak English, you speak Spanish,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to communicate with you, and I'm yelling thinking you're hearing me and you're understanding me, but that may not be your language.
Mhm.
Expressing love in the language you understand, and I understanding how you receive love and you know what I'm saying, and
Mhm.
hear it. I hope I'm coming
Yes,
across
yes,
clearly.
yeah. Mhm.
You know, there are a couple of bits of materials that's out there. The Five Love Languages
Mhm.
by Chapman, if your audience is interested. But it teaches you about yourself, and that's something if you're in a, you know, whether a couple or is something that you can, you know, research, and you can take the quiz online.
Mhm.
That it teaches you what your love language is, what maybe your partner's love language is.
Sometimes you don't even know your own love language. And that can be a problem because you're expecting somebody to love you a certain way, but you're not even sure how you're supposed to be loved or
And
what
that
it
may
is you
help,
love.
and
Mhm.
and that may help. And also again, we sometimes learn to love by the example that was taught, right?
Mhm.
I say this even with relationships with families, and you know, and for instance, in the Caribbean, for instance, and I use that as an example. When we were growing up, you know, love was expressed. You got a roof over your head, you got
Yes,
food on
at
your
the
table.
table.
What
Yep.
do you have to
You
be?
never heard it.
No, you never heard the
You-
words "I love
mhm.
you."
Mhm.
Um, that was just their way of expressing love
They
because
made
that's
sure you
what
had
they were
everything you
taught.
need. Food,
Exactly.
clothing, you went to school, everything you needed, you got it.
Yeah.
But you never heard, I love you.
Yeah. And so some people, for them, love might be acts of kindness. And that's with the Chapman thing, the five love languages. Um, you know, it may be affection, you know, a physical touch.
Mhm.
What does that look like to you? I know we're not talking about love in particular. We're talking about relationship, but that's
Mhm.
important to relationships. So there needs to be love, trust. You need quality time. We can spend time with each other, but we can be on the phones, doing our texting, and we see that often where people are sitting next to each other and are not conversing, not quality time. You need quality time, you know, if you're in marriages or partners, you have a partner, spend time not on your phone by each other.
I'm guilty of that. And you'll think, okay, well, we're next to each other.
Well,
So it's time.
but that you're not conversing,
Sing.
you're not
Mhm.
engaging.
So you put on everything and you totally
Yes,
connect with the person.
disconnect
Mhm.
and reconnect. Yeah.
I'm sure we all are guilty of that, spending
Yeah.
time on our phones and not paying attention to the person next to us. Yeah. Hold on, I saw a question here that I want to ask. Somebody is asking about can it be a combination of all to really make it work? It has to be does it have to be a little bit of everything? And you have
I
this.
think you need a little bit of everything. The respect and the trust. Safe space is needed. And that, like I said, incorporates things like trust and those sorts of things. Um, again, we are dealing with humans and we're flawed individuals and we're going to
Mhm.
make mistakes. But there has also to be a commitment to ensuring that the relationship thrives, right?
Mhm.
One can want it to thrive, but as they say, if you don't plan to succeed, you plan to fail, right? So making an effort, we're going to purposefully work on our relationship, whether it be through us doing, you know, going to workshops, doing various things
Mhm.
that will cause us to um, bond better, to communicate better. So taking, like I said, it could be simple things as, and it doesn't, sometimes when you say that, people tend to think that you need a lot of money. It
Mhm.
could be as simple as going and walking on the beach every night and
Mhm.
talking, decompressing, right? It could be going hiking, doing things together, finding things that you love, finding, you know, creating a bucket list of things you want to do.
You know what I've realized is to me, in all my years of doing this, and of course speaking to people, and my own experiences,
Mhm.
it's like we get into relationships and we just expect it to work without doing. I've just get into it and we sit back and we hope it thrives, we hope it lasts, and we don't really put the time in it. And
Mhm.
I had a conversation one time with somebody, and I'm always expressing this, where they said, you have to start treating relationships like businesses, like you invest in it. You don't go into a business to fail. You hope to see returns. And the more you
Exactly.
put into it is the more you get out of it. So if you
Exactly.
invest time, you invest resources, you're going to see the rewards. You may not see it overnight, but a lot of the times I think what we do, we get into a relationship today and we want everything to be perfect tomorrow without doing anything,
Without the work.
without doing any work. So when the person said to me, you know what, if we started treating, our relationships like businesses, we would see greater returns. We'll see returns on our investments. You're investing in
In
each
each
other.
other. Mhm.
It's not like one person doing all the heavy lifting and you're just sitting back and hoping it works.
Exactly. I think of it as plants. If you have a plant, if you feed it, water and, fertilizer, and you cultivate that
Grows,
plant,
it
it grows, it
blossoms.
blossoms, it thrives. If you just ignore it and you don't give it what it needs, and every once in a while you throw a little water on it,
Gonna
it may
die.
survive, but it's not living its best life, right? And if you fail to even feed it at all, it's going to die. And so too it is with our relationships, right? What we say also is important. Words have power. We can't take it back once we say it, right? So it's all those various bits of information. I think it's important that, like you said, we need to work on it. What is the vision you have for your relationship? What is the vision you have for your family? What is the vision you have for your business? Whatever the relationships are, because we're going to have to deal with them whether we want to or not, right?
But there's a lot of let's see where it goes. Is
Mm.
that healthy for a relationship? Because you hear a lot of okay, let's just see where it goes. I mean,
Mm.
let's see where it goes. So okay, how do we do that?
I think of that as going to the mall, right? Or
Mhm.
you no, you have if you go into the mall, you're going to the mall, right?
Mhm.
Because that's where you're driving. You're driving down the road to Grand Anse to the mall. But if you're just we're just going wherever, it can take us wherever. But we have no direct plan, no vision. I truly believe in having a vision for your life, having a vision for your relationships, especially. What do you want to see? If from a year from now, what would you like to see? Where is it going? Especially people who are single individuals. Where is your relationship going? Because that person could be we've seen where it goes for 10 years and
Yes.
you want to be
Mhm.
married, and that's not the vision
Sure,
that you
because we're
have.
still seeing where it going.
Seeing
It's
where it
going at
goes.
5, 10 years,
Mhm.
3, 4, 5 children later. We're still seeing,
Where it goes.
and there's no conversation as to what and where. And there's a situation that happened a while
Mhm.
some time ago. I brought it into the room with the same um individual who was seeing where it was going with this person. They were together for like 6 years, 3 children, and just upped and got married to somebody within a year.
I was about to say, they'll see where it goes with them because they've set boundaries. That's another thing that's important to thriving
And that
relationships.
lady was sitting there waiting for
Mhm.
6 years with 3 children to see where it goes. And that man just moved on with somebody else and got married within that year.
And that could be hurtful for a lot of people because they didn't set boundaries. We're in this relationship for 6 months, a year, whatever. Where are we going? You can.
What are the questions people seem to be afraid of? Where are we? What are we? Where are we going?
Sometimes we're afraid to ask the elephant about the elephant in the room, but you can't ignore the elephant in the room.
And it's loud. It's a big white one. You can't miss it. It's standing right there. But you're afraid of losing what exactly?
But again, going back, as you said, losing what's not for you is not for you. What's best for you. You want what's best for you. When you have a vision of what you want, it's like a woman going to the shoe store. A lot of times we have a dress. You pick out the dress and you say, I need a pair of shoes to go
Go
with
with
this
this.
dress, right? When you walk into the shoe store, you look at, no, that's not going to go. That's not going to go. That's not going to fit. Maybe what you're looking at is not fitting because it's not meant to fit.
So we keep squeezing ourselves in places that's not.
Not meant for us.
Oh, wow. Someone says, right now I'm looking at my relationship and I'm about to ask where we're going because it doesn't look as though they're going anywhere. Um, I have another question here. Someone is asking about women always say that they love communication but don't talk.
Some of how we communicate is based on how we were raised. And I would say to that individual, again, think of how you were raised, what you saw modeled, because many times we're taught by what we saw with our parents,
They weren't very good examples.
sometimes. And again, but we can change that. It's never too late to change that. Then find the tools, learn how to do that. in a way that's authentic to you.
Mhm. Another person is asking how important is emotional intelligence in relationships.
Very much so. Because you need to understand, number one, your feelings,
Mhm.
how to communicate that, and how also to like I said, to us, to to empathize with others, what they're feeling, see yourself in their shoes.
Wow. Yes, Mrs. We are definitely learning a lot this morning. It's a lot of food for thought. That's the whole point of the conversation. It's not just to talk for talking's sake, but eye openers. Yeah. Another person here say, I think people lack effective communication skills. That's why relationships won't work.
That's super important. One of the cornerstones, I believe, of relationships is communication. How we communicate a lot of times is based upon what we saw modeled, right? How our attachment styles, what we learned growing up, right? If we said something, we may have been shut out, but we can change that. It's not. I do believe it's never too late to unlearn what you've learned, right?
Mhm.
It's never too late. And knowing that about yourself, that awareness, I would say if you know that you have a challenge communicating, then find the tools. And, we are so blessed today with things like Google
Cool.
and all
Mhm.
these various, you can find, or you can take a workshop, a
You can find
course.
everything you
You
need
can
to find.
find what
Mhm.
you need in order to do that better.
There's a lot of tools that offers information on effective communication, etc. Online. So again, it's like you have to want to do it.
Yes, it. You got it
And I
like
think
the
a lot of the
Nike.
time that I don't think people you say it, oh, we need to communicate, but we don't actually do it. We don't put the work in, we don't make the efforts,
So
we don't make the time.
sitting down and planning, having a vision. And setting, not just saying I want to, I wish I want to, but setting a deadline. You know what? In a month from now, I realize that say communication is a challenge. I'm going to look for a course by the end of May. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to devote half an hour a day towards researching that and putting it into practice, and maybe having an accountability partner, because that sometimes helps you to stay, you know, to stay to what you're doing, to stick to what you're doing. So that might be having a girlfriend that say, you know what, you told me you were going to do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
Like, have you done it? What's happening? Yeah.
Guys, we're almost out of time, but someone here is also saying that it seems as though the only time I communicate is when we have an argument. That's
Mm.
when things really get out. We both say what we want to say when it becomes heated and there's an argument and we start telling each other what we like and don't like. But we never sat and had the conversation while we're both calm and in a good place. It's always when we're in an argument space.
So that awareness, that person is aware that that's what they tend to do. Maybe sitting with that partner and saying, you know what, we need to have a conversation. We need to check in periodically. We're getting, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I noticed that whenever we get into an argument is when we really speak our truth, and at that point we're probably heated and at the best things are coming out at that time. Maybe we should have a weekly check-in. How are we doing? Is there something bothering you? And that's why I think feedback and check-ins is important. If you decide on a particular issue that you're having, okay, I know we agreed to work on that. How am I doing? How is this going? What do you think we can do to improve what we set out to do?
And final one, this person says, I was once told I am not responsible for your feelings. That
Hmm.
was my clue to mind my business and protect me.
And I commend that person for saying, understanding their worth.
Mhm.
Again, sometimes understanding our worth, because you realize that this person is taking you for granted, you know?
Wow. Like that. I am not responsible for your feelings. Wow. So that means you can say whatever you
can't
want to say. And so you're responsible for how you feel based on what I say doesn't matter. How you feel is your problem to deal with. Oh, wow. Whew. Like folks on the chat are saying, we definitely have to do this again. I know you have to run timers of the essence today, but we can definitely make plans to meet again. So any final word before you go? Of course, if folks want to find you, how can they do that?
Okay, I am actually okay, so just a few tips but before I go. I'm some of the things I say, important things in relationships, some takeaways. Again, knowing setting appropriate boundaries. You get on the phone with that individual or friend or whatever it is that okay, if I get on this phone call right now, I'm going to be burdened after I leave. Setting appropriate boundaries. I'm not in the headspace to do that right now. If that's a friend that you still value, setting, okay, I can't do that right now. Can we connect at another time? Trust is important. Setting boundaries is important. Having a vision, deciding to work on it, is important. So if you're having challenges with a partner, and that is something like a partner that you decide you feel that you want to be with, um, sit down and talk about where you see your relationship. What do you want to see out of a relationship? Where is that going for the person who's been in a relationship for a while and like, I really want marriage, but I don't see us moving towards that, set boundaries, set, goals. Where can you meet me? Reach me. I'm currently one of the new teammates to Sal Bona. I'm the counselor there. So if you'd like to reach us, I forgot
Your
the
number?
number
Yeah,
off my
get it.
head. Yeah. You can reach our office, and someone will can have you make an appointment to see myself. We have a couple of workshops that are coming up on relationships. One coming up next Saturday on the 27th, just an overview of relationships in general. And then we have a few series of things later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
This person says if we were to accept the truth about our situations, a lot of people would have to leave that man or woman alone, and they don't want to do that. Acceptance is key. And
Mhm.
sometimes we don't want to accept what is right in front of us, all right? We put the blinders on and pretend it's not what we see. So if we
Yes.
know that's what it is. Well, hopefully we get to that point someday. Thank you so very much. Like I said, we'll definitely make plans to do it again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'm getting so much good feedback. It's 403-4769. All right, so that's the number you can reach Joanne at. 403-4769. All right. So again, thanks so much to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone on the live. Those of you listening via radio, thank you so much. And we definitely will do this again. All right. I appreciate, yes, definitely. Spoke very well indeed. So I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place for another session. Thank you so much to our friends at Beacon Insurance and Western Union for making the show possible today. I'll see you guys.